2,000 years ago, the Roman Republic stood at the height of its power. Its legions conquered vast territories. Its generals grew rich on war. Its senators ruled with arrogance and cruelty. But behind the glory of Rome lay millions of men and women in chains. Slaves built the temples, farmed the land, and died in the arenas. And among them rose one man who refused to kneel, a man who turned his chains into weapons and dared to defy an empire. His name was Spartacus. This is his story, the soldier who became a slave, the slave who became a gladiator, and the gladiator who became a legend. Spartacus was born around 111 BCE in Thrace, a rugged land of forests and mountains, on the edges of the Roman world. Thracians were fierce warriors, known for their independence and pride. Young Spartacus grew up in a culture that valued courage and freedom above all. But the shadow of Rome reached far and wide. At some point, Spartacus either served as an auxiliary in the Roman army or fought against them. We will never know which, but we know how it ended: he was captured. To the Romans, a captured enemy was no longer a man. He was property, to be bought, sold, and used. Spartacus was sold to a man named Lentulus Batiatus, who owned a gladiator school in the city of Capua, south of Rome. In Capua, Spartacus was trained to fight, not for freedom, but for spectacle. The gladiator schools were prisons. Men lived under constant guard, beaten and starved into submission. They were forced to kill for the entertainment of the Roman crowd. The life expectancy of a gladiator was short. Every fight could be your last. Yet Spartacus refused to let his spirit die. He watched, learned, and waited. He saw cruelty in his masters and desperation in his comrades. Among them were men like Crixus the Gaul and Enemaus, a former soldier, men who shared his hatred for Rome. Whispers of rebellion began to spread through the barracks. They would not die for Roman applause, they would fight for their own freedom. In the spring of 73 BCE, 70-odd gladiators broke free from the school. Armed with kitchen knives and scraps of metal, they overpowered the guards, seized wagons full of weapons, and fled toward Mount Vesuvius. It was a desperate act, 70 men against the Roman Republic. But courage is contagious. Soon, slaves from farms and villas joined them. Rome laughed. The Senate sent a small militia to crush the uprising. But Spartacus had learned to fight like a soldier, and to think like a general. When Roman forces cornered the rebels on Mount Vesuvius, Spartacus led his men down the cliffs using vines as ropes, striking from behind and annihilating the enemy. The impossible had happened: a band of escaped slaves had defeated a Roman army. Word spread across Italy. Slaves fled their masters and joined Spartacus. His followers swelled to tens of thousands. The Third Servile War, the greatest slave rebellion in history, had begun. In the months that followed, the rebel army became a movement. They plundered Roman estates, freed prisoners, and seized weapons. Spartacus imposed discipline: no looting of allies, no senseless killing. He divided his forces into units, trained them in formations, and organized supply lines. Unlike most rebels, Spartacus had a vision: not just revenge, but freedom. His plan was bold: march north, cross the Alps, and return his followers to their homelands. For a moment, freedom seemed within reach. But not everyone shared his dream. Crixus and others wanted to stay in Italy, to destroy Roman wealth and taste vengeance. The army split, a decision that would cost thousands of lives. Roman commanders attacked and killed Crixus and his men. Spartacus avenged them in battle after battle, defeating entire Roman legions. For nearly 2 years, Rome could not stop him. By 72 BCE, the Roman Senate realized the scale of the disaster. They turned to Marcus Licinius Crassus, one of the wealthiest men in Rome. Crassus rebuilt the legions and restored order through brutal discipline, executing 1 in every 10 soldiers who disobeyed him. Spartacus continued to win victories, pushing his army north again toward the Alps. But once more, many refused to leave Italy. They wanted to plunder, not escape. Spartacus turned south, hoping to reach Sicily and sail across the strait to safety. He struck a deal with pirate captains for transport. But the pirates betrayed him, taking the gold and leaving the rebels stranded. Now trapped in the south, Spartacus faced the full force of Rome. Crassus blocked the peninsula with walls and trenches, cutting off supplies. Desperate, Spartacus broke through the Roman lines in a night assault, but the rebellion was weakening. In the spring of 71 BCE, the final battle took place in southern Italy. Spartacus faced 8 Roman legions, nearly 40,000 soldiers. His own army, hungry and exhausted, still numbered tens of thousands, but their spirit was fading. Before the battle, Spartacus is said to have brought his horse before the men. He killed it, saying, "If we win, I shall have plenty of horses. If we lose, I shall need none." Then he charged into the fray. The fighting was brutal. Spartacus cut his way through enemy lines, trying to reach Crassus himself. He killed 2 centurions before being surrounded. Wounded, bleeding, he fought on until he was struck down. His body was never found, but his courage was never forgotten. When the battle ended, the rebellion was crushed. 6,000 captured slaves were crucified along the Appian Way, from Capua to Rome, their bodies left as a warning to all. Spartacus's rebellion failed, but it shook Rome to its core. For the first time, the Republic had felt fear, not from foreign armies, but from within its own borders. Spartacus never sought to conquer Rome. He wanted freedom, to live as a man, not a tool. He became a symbol of resistance, a legend that transcended time. Centuries later, his name would be invoked by revolutionaries, writers, and dreamers. He inspired the oppressed, the enslaved, and the forgotten. Even today, his story reminds us that freedom is never given, it is fought for. Spartacus proved that a single spark of defiance can light a fire powerful enough to shake an empire. Rome endured for centuries after Spartacus's death. Its legions continued to march, its emperors continued to rule. But no monument of stone, no decree of power, has survived with greater strength than the name of one man. Because Spartacus was more than a warrior. He was the voice of every soul that ever longed to be free. And though he died a slave in the eyes of Rome, in the memory of mankind, he died a free man.